I'm Alex James, and this is What's Your Story? And I am really delighted to have Alan Whitehead with me today. And because I've been following you, Alan, and your fantastic story of moving to Thailand. And so I really just want to capture everything that you've been sharing amongst your friends that I've been following on Facebook. I mean, we've watched you go from being first moving out there and getting married, and you know, you're obviously big love of your life, Kitty, and so yeah, I just want you to tell me everything about how you first came to think you would move out there and how life is now, and then all these comparisons, because I think you'll end up being responsible for half the country migrating out there because it's so fantastic. So over to you, Alan.
It's the Facebook thing is interesting because I mean, I'm not a negative person, and I when you read some of the comments on Facebook, I mean, you want to go and hang yourself. So I've had so many fabulous comments of people who've watched the story, as you've said, and to me, there are two great benefits of Facebook or social media. One is obviously keeping in touch with family and friends, but secondly, maybe to give other people hope, or you know, I could say at my age, I'm 77 now, but and people get the impression that there comes well, it's all over bar the shouting. But for me, a lot of people have said you're very brave to go marry and start a new life. My view would be, well, I think those that are left behind are very brave to put up with what is going to be a very harsh winter with rising costs. Whereas living in Thailand is, I often wonder whether this was the original Garden of Eden, because with Kitty, I've been out into the real, not tourist areas, into the real Thailand. I have seen sights and beauty that I've never seen before, natural, and the wonderful Thai people who are so different because of their culture. Buddhism, I think, has a lot to do with the way that they have this mutual respect. They're almost childlike in, I mean, my wife is always happy, laughing, making jokes. That's very common when I go. She has about 100 family members who treat me so well. Or the few that can speak English have said that they can see that I love Kitty, and that makes them happy. And they treat me like a family member, and I wouldn't say Thailand was for everyone, because there are the heat is relentless. I mean, today we're now in the dry season, so it can go as low as 26 if it's a cold day. That's for a few hours, and then it will warm up. Most days it's about 32, 34. So you live in aircon there. You don't. I wouldn't dream of sunbathing. That you get frazzled. But apart from that, and I like Thai food. My wife, like all Thais, is a great cook. Because she's part Lao, because we're close to the Lao border, the Lao cooking is even more spicy. So she eats stuff, I don't know how, I've tried, she goes very hot, and we're talking ridiculous. So she cooks for me and cooks for her. I mean, they're very hard working. Like Kitty's up at 6, she'll train for an hour. And then she'll go off to work because she has her own home. We bought a second home. We bought this house, brand new house, and it's magnificent. £52,000, and it is so beautiful. A beautiful garden now, but she goes off to work. She does beauty stuff. But before she goes, she'll come in, make me a cup of coffee, give me a kiss, and say, I'll come back at lunchtime, cook you lunch. And she works right. That's why she's in bed now. She's in bed most nights by 8 o'clock, but she's up every morning at 6.
I'm really sorry that she couldn't join us, Alan, because I was really hoping to meet her. But how did you meet her? That's the beginning of the story. So I want you to start at the beginning, because a lot of people don't know
how I met the whole thing.
Yes, I want to know how you met her. And
I don't want whatever I say to be in any way a personal attack on Western women, but no, as a single man, all I can say, this is what my observations. I've been married 3 times before Kitty, so I was divorced the last time in 2012, and I like being married, if I was honest. My second wife I had 2 children with. My first wife, Lena, was Swedish, and although it's the only one that I really miss, but she sadly died of ovarian cancer at an early age, and we'd become very good friends, and I missed her. She was a very vibrant girl. But anyway, I joined various dating sites, and I really I didn't want to spend the latter part of my life alone. However, I dated girl after girl, and I found there was a common denominator. And this sounds derogatory against, but there's 3. They're angry. They almost hate men, and you get like, well, if you think I'm going to cook for you, you can get that. And it's probably because they've been married 30 years and their husbands run off. Some of my female friends have explained it, but it's the English girls, it's if, but, maybe. Whereas with the Thai women, there's none of that. From meeting Kitty, within a week, she was talking about getting married. She didn't want a boyfriend. She wanted a husband. And the English girls, as an observation, not a criticism, don't know what they want anymore. That's why so many English men look elsewhere for a wife. I tried for 10 years, and I thought it was problematic, and with Kitty there was none of that, not from day one.
So
and how I met her,
and you said
I met her on a great website called Cupid International, and what that does, that connects you. It's not expensive. It's about £30 a month. It connects you with girls all over the world. I had girls from South America, Mexico, China, Vietnam, everywhere writing, and it was interesting. They do, and each country there is sort of a lot of girls from the Philippines who are desperately poor, and there are a lot of scammers. So obviously I don't send money I made it quite clear I don't send money to strangers, but it's not their fault because they've got this view that the West is very wealthy. By their standards, we are. However, I wrote to different girls, and for a year, and it was fun because you get to know other cultures, and you got a feeling for what it was like. And they were all desperate to find a Western man to get out of the poverty they were in particular the Philippines, I would say. However, out of the blue, I clicked and looked at a picture of Kitty, and she sort of had long hair and looked a bit like a 70s hippie in a way. I thought she was part French, not far wrong, because she was educated through the UNICEF program by a French couple. And Laos is very influenced. Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam are very heavily influenced by France. However, she'd obviously seen I'd clicked on and liked her, so she wrote to me and said, "How are you finding this site?" And I said, I haven't met anyone, but I said, there seems to be a lot of scammers. Most of the people, it's somewhere down the line, are asking for money. And I went, how about you? She said, interesting. She said, well, I don't get people asking me for money. What I do get is men asking me to send naked pictures of myself. She was horrified. He's a devout Roman Catholic, and that was it. So we started talking, and then I said, after a week, I said, well, let's WhatsApp so we can see each other. And then from that point, from the second week of video chatting, she said, you're the man I've been looking for. I've been praying to God for 4 years to find a good man to marry, and you are the one I want to marry. And that was it. It was just very blunt. And within 3 months, she'd had her wedding dress made. This was right in the middle of COVID, so I couldn't go there. We had to wait another year. I went out on the 16th of December last Christmas, and I had COVID. You know, you had to be tested before you went, tested when you arrived, tested when you were there, tested before you came back, and tested when you got. But I thought I cannot miss this opportunity. And she wrote me the most romantic, loving letters and email. And I really got to know her. We would laugh and joke, and then we had planned originally to get married this year in April, and she'd set up. How you get married in Thailand? The legal part is you have to go to the British Embassy, and you in Bangkok, and you get a special certificate saying you can legally get married. Then you go to the Anfa Thai office, and you get married there. You have a certificate. It's in Thai and in English. That is now recognised in the UK as a legally binding marriage. And then, because she's a Catholic, I met her priest, and very funny. Her priest was the most wonderful man. And we got married in the Catholic Church. I got married, as you probably saw, in traditional Thai outfit. What you didn't see, the perspiration was running down my face.
You wrote that, though.
Very, very warm. But her priest, he met me for an hour, and then he was filling in some. He said, how old are you, Alan? I said, well, I'm 76. And he looked at Kitty, and then he spoke to her in Thai. And they were laughing away. And I asked the lady, what did he say? She said, are you sure he's 76? Because he's like a teenager. And then he said to me, Mr. Allen, he said, Mr. Allen, can you explain something to me? I said, yes, Father, what? He said, how come man like you get to marry a pretty girl like Kwan? Her real name is Kwan Chai, but her nickname, all Thais have two names, by the way. They have their given name, Kwan Chai Kung Pong is her real name, or people call her Kwan, and they have a nickname, and her nickname is Kitty. But most people know her as Kwan or Kwan Chai. Anyway, he allowed us to get married. Now she's changed everything. Now she's Kwan Chai Whitehead. So we are legally married and recognised. And if you're going to live in Thailand, it does help an awful lot, because the Thai authorities can see you're serious about, would I live here as a single man? I don't know. Maybe in a tourist area, but where I am in Ratchathani, there are very few English speaking people. Without Kitty, life would be very difficult. So that was basically it. I flew over, and I was, every time you have the COVID check, you think if it's positive. When you flew into Bangkok, you had to be isolated and had to be checked before. Then it's an hour's flight from Bangkok to Ubon, and she was there waiting at the airport for me, and it just confirmed what we already knew. As soon as we met each other, it was just instant, really. But we'd had a year of knowing each other, I had the best Christmas I ever had. I mean, she's got where she lives in her other house. Every house next to her is an uncle, brother, sister, auntie, nephew, niece. And one of the reasons why she wanted to buy another house, I said, why can't we live here? She said, I want privacy with you. And what happens is a family just wander in and out, and if you're having dinner, they bring their own food, they just join. Whereas here, no, we're in Kamyar province, which is 3 miles from the centre, on a secure estate. A lot of the estates here, we have 24-hour security, and you can't get into the main gate unless the security guard is satisfied. But it's a very safe. Burglaries are just unknown here. Crime, there's just no crime. You would, first of all, you wouldn't want to end up in a Thai prison, that's for sure. But secondly, as a Farang or foreigner, I play everything by the book. I got myself a really good lawyer, Brian Ramsden, just become a good friend. He's got a company called Lawyers for Expats. And there is a danger, I don't know whether you're aware, if you're a non-Thai national, you can't own land. Cannot, there's no way around it. There are many people who say you can do this and do that, but they're all illegal. If the worst that can happen is you'll lose it, or you could end up in prison. So anyway, what happens is people set up companies and buy, that's illegal too. My wife technically owns the house that I bought. But what Brian does, the big danger would be, for instance, I might own the actual building, but I can't own the land. It's registered in her name. If Kitty were to die, the family would have me out in the house in a week. The house would automatically go to her family. And whether they love me or not, when it comes to money, I would be out. So Brian has protected me. It took us an hour to sign all the contracts. We did a thing called a USELEF contract with the land registrar, and then he did a will for Kitty, leaving everything to me in the event of her death, and I can live in the house for 30 years. Like a leasehold, completely legal. He's got a team of Thai lawyers, and and Kitty just was happy. The only thing we had to do, because she's got one son of 19, and I've got 2 sons.
Gosh, she doesn't look old enough to have a 19-year-old.
You're right. She really does look. I mean, I've had a lot of negative people think that she was about 20 years old. She's 44, 45 now. But what she hasn't got a life. Her skin is beautiful. I've never known skin. Her skin is like silk, and because she trains, she's got the body of a 20-year-old. It's quite remarkable. You'd never know she had a child. But anyway, what we did was we discussed it. And in the event of both of us dying, our entire estate, that's her farm, her house, her business, this house, everything is split 3 ways between my 2 sons and her son. And I thought that was fair. So if you have to, if you were considering living in Thailand, there are people say they can get around the law. Don't even go there with it. And I strongly recommend Brian, who's protected me. So yes, I don't own the house, but if anything happened to Kitty, I can't be thrown out of it. And not that family would, but you wouldn't want to live on a hope that the way he structured it, and it's all sealed. He's got copies of it. We've got copies elsewhere, and we've got copies, and so you can't tamper with it, you can't change it. And yeah, her son was from a relationship. She was working in Bahrain as always in one of her uncle's restaurants, and she met an American serviceman, and she got pregnant, and he wanted her to get rid of it, but being a Catholic, she said no, and he gave her about 150,000 back. What's that? Gave her about, I'm just thinking, maybe £5,000, and she never saw him again. So then she brought up David, who is 6 foot tall. He looks Thai, but he's got the height of an American. He doesn't speak English, but he's 19 years old. She brought him up like so many Thais do, brought him up on her own. And the Thai family is everything to the Thais. Yes. So whenever kids are doing anything, she'll ring an uncle, an auntie, a brother. She's got 3 sisters and a brother. And they always know someone for building or this or that, or it's always with the family. And she's very good-hearted. She'll help members of her family or friends that are struggling. Not all the Thais. There's no social security system to fall back on here. You either work or starve. It's really that simple. And say the average living wage, maybe 12,000 baht a year. That's about £250 a month is the average living wage. So I mean, we can eat at posh restaurants, and when I say posh, 10 quid, 15 quid, or we can go to the street restaurants to quid. And the street restaurants, believe it or not, the food is just as good. Everything, we go to we don't go to the supermarket, we get our food from the farmers, bring it in and sell it there and then. There's no packaging, you just buy everything fresh. I mean, even the fish, I remember their fish were live, and they haven't been big tanks. You say, I'll have that one, they just chop their head off and they gut it there and then for you. So we go, the food halls here and the markets are just unbelievable and so cheap. I mean, if Kitty, she likes to cook, so she can get everything we need for a really good meal for maybe £1, £1.50.
Wow.
Chicken, salad, fruit. You know, I mean, a bunch of bananas is about 20p. So the cost of living, as an idea on cost of living, we have this house. I know because I pay the bills. There's no rates here. There are no rates. So she said to me, we have to pay to have our rubbish collected. If we don't want them to collect it, we don't have to. So I said, okay, well, how much is that? She went, 150 baht. I went, that's about £3. So I said, what, a week? She went, no, a year.
Wow.
So you get a little sticker that you buy, that £3, and they come every week. They look down and it's gone. Electricity, right? We don't have heating, but we run aircon. The aircon's on here now. We run aircon, so we've got everything. We don't have gas. We don't have hot water pipe, so we have, like in the shower, you have a water heater. So everything is run electricity, and our last electricity bill was £22 for the month.
Wow.
Water bill was £8 for the month. Fuel to fill the car up is about £25. So petrol is at least, well, it's about 32 baht a litre. So it's roughly 60 pence a litre, not 180, 190. There is no energy crisis here. There's no blackouts or anything like that.
So what about
So
health? What about healthcare? What do you do about your healthcare?
I haven't got insurance yet because I don't have any health issues. But if anything happens to me, the Thai government, and this is how fair the Thais are, if I had a car accident and I wasn't insured, they wouldn't just let me die. They'd patch me up and make sure I could leave alive. But you'd get the very basic treatment.
Yeah.
So private Medicare in Ubin, because they've got phenomenal hospitals. I can see a doctor any day of the week, any time I want, and it's cost of a private doctor. Just thinking, £5.
Wow.
It's seen straight away. The Thais have got so much right. Like to be a private doctor here, the Thai government have stipulated that to have your license as a private doctor, you have to do 2 days a week in the public hospitals.
Wow.
It's a clever system. So if I went for the big problem I've got is at 77, I don't really like insuring. What 75 is normal. I mean, it's going to cost me about, the best quote I've had so far is about £2,000 a year. That's just for going into hospital for emergency. Dentist I can see anytime I want. It's cheap. Doctors, all this, what it calls the things connected to your health, are very accessible and cheap.
Wow.
So it's not.
And what do you miss then? What do you miss about here? Is there anything you miss apart from your boys? I'm imagining you probably miss them a little bit, but as you said to me earlier, you see.
It's a funny thing to say. I miss the seasons.
Yeah.
They're just hot and hotter. Well, they have the rainy season. Now, we know about rain. You have no idea what rain is till you experience rain. With the globules are like that big.
Wow.
The rows will flood in 10 minutes. We're not in a flood because we're in a high, Kanyar is high. So over my garden wall is a 20-foot drop into jungle. But so we didn't, but on the south of Ubin, we went for a month, it was unpassable, flooded. It's the worst flood they've had for about 10 years. So the rain, and it hammers down, it pounds on the roof, and as it hits the ground, you get like a wall of water. And that's some about, when it really gets bad on the rain, about September, I guess. That's the peak of it. Then October, it slowly, it was still, it can rain at any time. It can rain about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the heavens just open. And for an hour, the roads are just like rivers, and then it stops, and then the heat, it all evaporates away. This year, the floods, though, I mean, whole areas were flooded, shops were flooded. We've got a high car, not a 4-wheel drive, but we did go down. We were able to go through some of the floods, but for people who lived there, were made homeless, damaged a lot of crops. All this is very critical for Thais if they're dependent on their living and their shops have been flooded. What else do I miss about England? Well, I guess being able to chat like you know, where I am, except for Kitty, and I've got a few English friends, but I'm proud to be English. I'm just saddened to watch the country I love, just everything I love about England just eroding away. I just noticed you've got a Buddha behind you.
I have, yeah. I have.
I'm only allowed Buddhas in my office because Kitty's a Catholic.
Yeah.
And I had about 100 Buddhas in England. The one thing you cannot import back into Thailand is Buddhas.
Mm.
So I had a few very old ones that this one You can see it. That's 1100 years old.
Wow. Yeah, nice.
It's worth a hell of a lot of money. But my favourite Buddha is this one, which I bought in South Africa.
Oh, yeah, looks, yeah. That's not as old then.
I've got
one.
my Buddhas.
My father loves Buddhism, so yeah, I've got a few. I've got a few.
I mean, I've got, as you probably saw, I bought, which is okay. I bought 2 temple guards which guard the house. The white elephants which I bought, they're for good luck. They're for money. The elephant is a sacred animal. I've actually seen working animals. When we went up into the borders, we actually saw real working elephants, not tourist elephants, real working elephants. That they do have different gods. For like the goddess Ganga is, I know that she's the water god, but it's the Buddhism is really, I mean, the temples are called Wats, W-A-T, Wats. Some of the temples, they are magnificent. And I asked for somebody that they can just wander in, and they're gold and gilt, and I said, doesn't anyone steal anything? Steal? I said, if they're lucky, the police would get them. If the villagers got them, they would do serious harm to them. Nobody would dream of desecrating a temple. Or you see the monks, we see them walking around in the saffron robes. And I always bow when somebody comes. Out of respect, they give their life as monks, and they are revered. You see them wandering around barefooted just in the saffron robes. But the temples I've seen are magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Often you might see a monk, he sits cross-legged in a corner, and you can go up if you have problems or worldly problems, and you can just sit and talk to a monk, and he will try and help you. The Thais whole culture is about helping, like something they set up in Ubin, in the local police station. Every day now they have, it's free, they have a lawyer who sits, and you can go and ask legal advice. And it's so typically Thai, this helping everyone. And I mean, if you go out into the shops, we've got one called the main plaza, which is as good as anything I've seen in England. It's on 5 levels. And if the people that work there, they take great pride in their work. They're all immaculately dressed, and it's always they greet you sawadee-ka or sawadee-ka, and when they kop kun kat, thank you, and bow again, and there's not this apathy and indifference and rudeness that is part and parcel of living in England now. There is only one exception, which I really can't understand, that they're polite and charming and friendly, except on the roads. Nobody gives way ever. I have never seen driving like it. As for the scooters, I mean, you see 5, forget wearing helmets, they've got the mask on, and you'll see entire families. I've seen 5 people and their dog on a scooter made for 2. No helmets, going like a bat out of hell. There's 50 deaths a day on scooters here.
Oh dear. Yeah, so that's. Tell me about your house, because you went to see a house and you put some photos up, didn't you? And
we looked at the show house. There was a show house, and we looked at a few. They're all about the same price. They're all standard. The build quality of this house is really good, but they're normally 3-bed, 2-bath, and they don't have ovens, or we don't have an oven. We have a big fridge we bought, but their kitchens are different. The way most of them cook outside the house, not in the house, so we can cook outside. And our washing machine, I've actually at last convinced Kitty, because she wouldn't get it. She did everything by hand, but she's now got a washing machine. She loves it. She just puts it all in and it does it all. I know, bless her. I said, you'll end up with old hands. And she's like, so I said, but she's okay, okay. I have a washing machine then. So it was only like 150 quid, so we looked at new build. When I spoke to, I have a friend here, John Dupe. He's an estate agent. He said, you buy a new house, in the first year, it will drop at least 500,000 back. That's I'm just thinking, what's 500,000? It's about 10 grand. So the house prices here don't really go up or down. They, like this house we bought, it was brand new. It would have been 3 million back new, and then you've got to put the curtains, wallpaper it, and do everything. You saw what happened is the couple that moved in, and within 2 months the husband, he was only 38, had a massive heart attack and he died.
Oh,
So the house was empty for 2 years, and we got it for 2.45 million back. It's about 52 grand, and we spent maybe 7 or 8. We've tiled it, built a koi pond, done the garden. There was one room, my office didn't have aircon. I've got aircon, but it was only £300. It wasn't that dear, and it's the most beautiful. We've got a very big garden compared to our neighbours, because our garden stretches all the way across the road. We are going to have a pool put in. We'll have a 6 metre by 3 metre pool. At the moment, we've got the little Thai house. We spend so much time in there. That's a traditional Thai home, made all of bamboo. It was 100 quid. They brought it on 100 quid is all it cost. And believe it or not, underneath that thatch, it's really cool. You'd think, because it's the wind can blow through. Kitty's out there all the time. You could sleep out there, and it's lovely, very relaxing.
So
and when you go out to the villages, you see outside every house is one of them or something like it, and that's where they eat, relax, chat with friends. Because inside the traditional Thai homes, they don't have aircon. Like when it went to Mook's farmhouse, I mean, it was very basic, but she wasn't unhappy. She'd love to meet a man, but it was such a good-natured woman and attractive. She just said, I'd like an Englishman, and he can either help me, we can work the farm, or if he doesn't want to do that, I'll rent the farm. And she's got a house in Uban. But either way, they're happy. They're a happy race of people. You could say somewhere down the line, the West has lost the plot because we have everything, and yet we're not happy. If you stayed in Thailand, went back to England, you'd notice it immediately. Like here, I wander around, and if people eye contact you, the first thing they do is smile. And then sometimes they're like, if I go in the wet market or the food halls, and I go, how much is that? And I just do that. And then they quote they go their little calculator and they put, 10 million pounds. And then they laugh and laugh. And they go, no, I'm not paying that on. And I go, no. And they all think it's funny. They joke. It's just good natured. But I am an oddity here. I might see the odd white person, but mostly I'm the only Thai, non-Thai. When we go at the market with Kitsy, and they're so friendly, and I ask what's that, and good, or whatever. But I don't know. Half the time I have no idea what I'm eating. I mean, I had drawn the line. Kitty came home one day with a bowl of cooked crickets, small ones, like grasshoppers.
Yeah.
Fried grasshoppers. I thought, I don't think I can eat those, but everything. It's hard to get a good steak here. Chicken is okay. Fish, fantastic. Seafood, king prawns, squid, no problem. But getting a good steak, you'd have to go, and that is, you'd have to pay a lot of money, maybe £20 for a good steak that comes in from America or Japan. But the Thai steaks, it's a bit like Thai whiskey. It sort of is whiskey, but it's not like a good malt whiskey, but close enough. Once you've had a glass, what the hell? I quite like it. I mean, what a name, Song Hong. Song Hong.
Alan, so do you keep in contact regularly with your friends over here? Have any of them decided they're going to come out there and do the same thing?
I think a lot of my friends are thinking about it, but I appreciate it's a real quantum leap from your comfort zone. I would say come out and visit Thailand, visit the real Thailand. All my friends said, come and stay with me. We have 2 houses, so we have aircon, and although Kitty might work, but I've got a car, I can show that it's Ratchathani is beautiful, and it's fascinating. And then you might meet somebody. They don't really have bars like ladyboy bars or anything like that here, but I think a lot of my similar age friends are finding it just the struggle to survive in England, whereas I don't struggle. I live. I can go out every night of the week. I've got a brand new house, a brand new car, money in the bank. My pension, Kitty works. I've got my record royalties, so I live really well. But if I was in England, I would have to get a job just to survive, just to pay bills. Whereas you think my basic running costs of this house, well, just thinking 20, 30, £35 a month. Wow. Electricity, water, no rates. So you can eat out, if we want to eat out at a good restaurant. We found that, like eating in England, a good Thai restaurant is about 60 or 70 quid for 2. Here, a good Thai restaurant is about 10, 15 pounds. If we street food shop there, the food is amazing and it's for nothing. What the Thai I go with Kitty where the Thais eat now, and we go for lunch. Like we had lunch today in this amazing restaurant they built. And again, they've used all of natural bamboo and straw, and they had a massive, huge tree, and they built a floor in the middle of this tree. You have to go like a spiral up to it, and we had lunch there. I had chicken with rice and a salad, and Kitty had noodles, and the bill was 110 baht. That's about £2.50.
My goodness.
It's yeah. It's. I mean, I must admit, I do occasionally, for my sins, once a week, I go and have a McDonald's, and even that's cheaper. It's like I can get a McDonald's meal for £2 here, 99 baht. But to be honest, like tonight, we've got a friend. He's from Serbia. He owns a restaurant called the Outside Inn, and they serve Mexican food there. So I have fajitas, and his wife is gorgeous. My wife and his wife, she's like Kitty, very pretty, with a great sense of humor and speaks good English. So we went and had dinner at their place. I like fajitas. Once a week, I don't mind eating Thai every night, but I mean, yes, talking about that, I really wouldn't mind a real good Sunday roast, but I'm sure if I look, I'll find somewhere in Ruben that will do it, but I haven't found it yet.
But you seem so happy, and I understand when people say things, because there is that thing, isn't there, about, oh yeah, I mean, I think it's derogatory actually, Thai bride, and that used to be the case. And I was telling you about my friend who would like to meet somebody nice, and and finds it difficult to find, because it is, I don't know if it's social media that's coming, but people don't seem to go out now, do they, and make friends. They sort of, everything is online anyway, and the world's a smaller place. You can get backwards and forwards just as you want. So I think, yeah, I'm really tempted to come out there, to be honest.
Something else I do miss, actually. I can't get a newspaper here. I don't know whether I'm missing anything, but you can't get the Daily Mail.
Because online, can't you now?
I can go online. I don't even watch the news anymore because, to be honest, none of it's good. And in Thailand, if the world is going to hell in a handcart, Thailand will just carry on. Nothing will really change here. We're sort of out of the loop.
It's like living off the grid, isn't it? It's like you've moved to another planet.
Yeah, I wake up every day and think, what are we going to do today? I don't know. And I get maybe I water the plants. That's the big thing. And I feed when they were doing the tiling, I got them to dig a hole, and I built a koi pond. And I've had the koi now feed from my hand, and if I go anywhere near it, they all come, and they've become very tame. And Kitty's got a dog, but she keeps it at the other house. We lost that. We had a little puppy dog came in to our house, and he died a month ago. He got bitten by ticks. I really regret. Never heard of it. Tick fever. I didn't know. He was a big dog, and he always had a connection with me. Come and find me. Saw my car, come running up, and he suddenly lost his appetite, and I couldn't work out. And then he got so ill, and then we realised it was tick fever, but he died. We got all the injections from the vet. It was too late to save him. It was very sad, but he was a street dog. He just wandered around, and there were loads of them. I mean, they sleep in the middle of the road. I mean, you bid the horn, and they sort of look at you and think, oh, God, got to get up. And they, in their own time, just slowly walk out of the way. But it's just so typically, the dogs everywhere. Not so much cats, but in my garden we get giant butterflies, and we get minor birds. Remember the minor birds that they used to be there? Well, they're like starlings here. They're there, and you can hear the birds.
Don't they mimic minor birds? Aren't they mimic?
Yeah, everything. Not just speaking. My uncle, my family were dockers, and I remember when I was a kid, he had a minor bird, and he was also a heavy smoker. So he had a smoker's cough, and so did the minor bird. And it was really funny to hear the minor bird go. His bird could do a car starting in the morning. It could do the lift going up, all these ridiculous sounds. But they're like 2 a penny here, minor birds. The butterflies are beautiful. All the lakes or rivers are full of fish. This is a country of abundance, really, because of the lush climate. I mean, you really can get anything. Just get a stalk, stick it in the ground, and it will grow. Kitty's always keeps all the mango stones. She's got 2 mango trees at the other house, and the mangoes there, they fall, and they are just beautiful. You forget what has happened with all the fruit we get in the UK. It's been harvested, frozen, transported, defrosted, doesn't really taste of anything. Here, the fruit is just fresh, and it has bananas, pineapple, I've recently had the 2 things that have a jackfruit, which is really fabulous, and Duran is banned. You cannot take because of the smell, but it's a flavour that I quite like. It's a lovely fruit, but jackfruit I really like. And then there's some other fruits I've never seen in England. So there's my youngest son, the doctor, commented on how good my complexion is. There's a
Yeah.
combination of three litres of water a day. Otherwise, you will get. I was getting cramp, and my son said it's dehydration. Drink at least 3 litres of water and take magnesium. It's fixed it. So you have to drink a lot of water because you're perspiring. If you go out, you perspire. And I don't eat any processed food. Everything is fresh.
I mean, you look so
you
happy.
think I'm 77, my skin. I have a beautician. My wife looks at my skin, does my hair for me, and like they like I come out of the shower. It makes them seem like they're sort of subservient, but they're not. I come out of the shower, Kitty's there with the towel dries me, then she looks at my skin and goes, bit oil, man. And looks at my nails, cut nails for you. And it's just what they do, and you think, yeah, whatever. And it is lovely to be fussed over and looked after. But people get the wrong idea that the Thai women are a pushover. My wife is 5 foot tall and weighs 45 kilos. I've seen her angry once when we were in a cab in Bangkok and the cab wouldn't turn the meter on. The first time I've heard her. They've got a rod of steel. They're not a pushover. I have to, if I say we will do it like this, and she says, no, we do it. And I went, no. And then I show her why. But she's not just a yes person.
No.
And she wouldn't take any nonsense. I think that all Kitty asked for me is that I guess that I love her and respect her. She loves the fact that I respect her culture, loves the fact she's not so happy that I'm a Buddhist, but she said, but so long as you've got God in your heart, it doesn't really matter. So we have like a crucifix and I go to church with her on Sunday. Don't understand the words, it's all done in Thai. She nudges me when it's like fine with it. But for me, if I support her religion as an act of love, what does it matter? It's very different there, by the way. When we go to Sunday service, it's at 7:30 and the church is packed. And I've got to know the novices, the novice nuns, and I think you saw that they've asked me that the Mother Superior asked if I could help them with their English, and I said, of course, no problem. She's just fabulous. But afterwards, everyone mills around eating. They have food because everything is around food with the Thais. You get free coffee and they have stalls and people just after the church and the father wanders and he's just got the most beautiful smiley and he always says nice to see you, Alan, and Mr. Alan he calls me. And Kitty is a very devout Catholic, but when we go into I said, we've got to look at this temple. We see a temple, but she's on her hands and knees, so it's still ingrained in there. The whole Buddhist way, you can't take that out of them. See, the Catholic is, I don't know how many Catholics there are. There's in Uban, there's quite a few Catholic churches. The only religion, as always, and the one we can't talk about, is the only one they've had any problems with in Thailand. The Thais were not having it, and they clamped down heavy. The minute that religion started to throw their weight around, we want this, Thais weren't having it at all. They still have some problems down on the southern borders next to Malaysia, but the main part of Thailand is very clear with the Thai. You have whatever religion you want. Do not interfere with us. Do not interfere with our way of life or our religion or our culture, or we will step on you, and they do. And that religion that we can't talk about has got a very strong message. You can set up and believe whatever you want. Don't interfere with our way of life. And they don't.
It sounds to me, because we've been talking a long time, and we have to end. But I want to do another one because I'd like to talk to you some more. But I'd also like to talk to Kitty too. But it sounds to me like you found a little piece of heaven there, and it's all based on kindness and regard and respect, really.
I think you're right. I feel, I mean, I wake up and I look, Kitty is absolutely an angel in every way. I watch her family adore her, children she's like a magnet to. A dog is completely besotted. When she tries to leave the house, he's got his legs around her leg trying to stop her. I mean, she's really is, besides her obvious beauty, she never wears makeup. Once in a blue moon, she'll put a little bit of lipstick and then she'll curl her hair. And but I look at her and she really is an angel, kind, gentle, loving, funny.
Yeah.
So I feel that someone up there likes me, sent me an angel, and I'm very grateful.
Alan, for the life.
I live now, I don't try and survive, I can live. Yes. And I'd recommend, yes, I'd say to anyone, if you can handle the heat and the change of culture, Thailand does take some beating. For all those that have been here, they know how sad it is when they leave and go back to the grey, miserable, dreary England with the people unfriendly. And when I took my second wife to Thailand, it took her a month to get back to normal. She couldn't get over how friendly, but that's the Thai nature. They're happy, and I feel very lucky that I live amongst these lovely race of people.
You know, Alan, thank you so much for sharing all of this. It's been honestly, it's just been. I'm so sorry that it took so long to get it together, but I've really enjoyed it. I would like to do one where we can speak to Kitty, but thank you for joining me. And just wait there a minute because I'll talk to you after we've.
If you want to do Kitty, though, bear in mind, think of it. She's up at 6 and in bed by 8.
Okay.
So
we will.
You're 7 hours ahead.
I'm sure
you get
love to
6 o'clock our time would be 11 o'clock your time.
Okay, well, we will do it, but stay with me a minute. But Alan, thank you so much, and I'll end this one here. But I'll talk to you in just a second. Once we've stopped recording. But yeah, Alan Whitehead, thanks so much, and you look so happy, and it's been great.